I have someone to talk about. There's this guy on TikTok and Instagram who you've probably heard of, or heard rather. And you've definitely seen him around. And if you haven't, I envy you so much. So there's this guy on TikTok and Instagram Reels and all this stuff. He's everywhere. Okay, he's everywhere. That's why I'm making a video about it, because I can't escape him. And his name is tx2. A name that will send shivers down the spine of anyone who knows who this freaking guy is. So tx2 is this like musician, I guess. And he makes like emo pop punk music. And he also thinks that he makes the heaviest music on earth. He thinks he makes the hardest rock song on TikTok you've ever heard. The hardest rock song, the song of the summer, the emo anthem of the summer. Did I just make the new emo anthem? You've heard him before. You've heard him. I'm not going to play clips, also because this is unscripted. I'm not going to play clips because he's going to get me with copyright. He can't get me with copyright if I'm just talking about him. It'd be very funny. So there's a lot going on with him all the time. He basically anything he ever does, everyone hates, which is very funny. I was going to try to make this neutral, but I literally can't make it neutral because I cannot stand this freaking guy. I almost said kid. He's not a kid. He's a grown ass man. Okay? He's a grown ass man, right? So, that's so stupid. So there's a lot with him. So he has that song that's like, I'm a 5'4" man whore piece of shit. We all know it. We've all heard it. We all went, ugh. Oh God, every time we heard it. Unless you're like 12 and you fuck with it, but you're 12, so it's okay. I really don't know who listens to his music. Cause like, what? How many monthly listeners does he have on Spotify? Oh, okay, not as many as I thought. He is like 500,000 or something like that. So actually not as much as I thought. I think that's because a lot of people don't like him. Which I mean, not to say that he doesn't have a lot of, like, that is a lot. Jesus Christ, that's a lot. And like, I guess you could say like, oh, I respect the grind, dude, but I don't, because the music isn't good. And it feels like so pandering to a very specific kind of audience of like, so he makes this kind of music that is a lot of very like simple lyricism that he acts like is super revolutionary and very like super political because, I remember he said that, this is the most punk rock thing anyone's done in years because he name dropped homophobic senators or governors or something like that. Which I hate to break it to you, you are not punk just because you don't like transphobic laws, okay? You don't like homophobic laws. He also does this thing where he fetishizes goth women. I need to clarify something. I am not the first person on earth to talk about this. People on TikTok talk about this all the time. I'm not the only person on the planet to hate on him, okay? However, I haven't really seen anyone on YouTube talk about this. I think because he's not plaguing YouTube as much as he is plaguing TikTok. But literally, I cannot stand this guy. Anytime I see his videos, like, they'll come up naturally on my reels and stuff. I don't go on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok guy. But when I'm on Instagram Reels, he'll come up and I'll be like, I swear, like, I'm in school, and I will see this guy and I will be seething with anger, okay? I want to start a rivalry with this man, like WWE style, except with except, you know how in WWE, they, like, the characters will be having a feud, but, like, in real life, usually at least, they, like, It's just kayfabe, right? They actually do respect each other in real life. Without that, I want a rivalry with tx2 without the real life respect. I don't care. Because he's also not doing a character, it seems. I mean, everyone's always doing a character. Anyone who displays themselves on social media is always doing a character to some extent. Parasocial relationships. What am I even talking about? Okay. I'm probably not going to edit this either because I don't want to. But, and because it's my channel, I can do what I want, so. But basically, this freaking guy, I don't know. This guy is just, he fetishizes, okay, going back to what I was talking about it before. He fetishizes and sexualizes goth women a lot. By like, oh, I want a goth dommy mommy, which is like the worst thing I've ever heard anyone say ever. And as someone who has an actually goth girlfriend, oh yeah, the people that he's talking about, that's like, I want a goth girlfriend. And this is just generally whenever people are like, I want a goth girlfriend. Oh. No, but you don't, because you're not talking about actual goth people. You're just not. Like 95% of the time, you're not actually talking about a goth person. Like, it's also just funny when normal dudes do that, because it's like, what? But regardless, tx2 is not like, oh, he looks subculture-y. He does not, okay, here's the thing. There is the death of subculture is happening because of the internet. My girlfriend wrote a really brilliant essay on it. And, basically, the internet is killing subculture, and I think artists like this help with that by making it very much about the visuals and very, like, kind of mild but slightly edgy sounding music. So he likes to sexualize and fetishize goth women, but then whenever he's critiqued about that, which is a lot, he literally makes videos where he's like, no one would care if I killed myself. I literally have been suicidal before. Which is like, obviously that's not good. That sucks that that's happened to you. But why are you saying this to your exceptionally young audience? Because it's not to, like, spread awareness about, like, suicide prevention or mental health resources. It's literally just him, like, putting all this, like, almost suicide baiting in a sense. I know that's a big word. That's a big phrase. I don't want to be throwing that around. However, you know, like, you can't say this kind of stuff casually to your teenage, preteen audience, okay? That's, like, really harmful. And also, similar to some of his lyrics, that's like, I'm a 5'4" man whore who slits his wrists. It's like, you're, like, why are you saying this? Like, I'm not saying that any time anyone ever talks about self-harm or suicide or anything like that, it's like, glorifying it or, glamorizing it, because that's not true. I'm a big believer in art does not necessarily, you shouldn't have to be like, this is bad in your art form to be clear that you're not condoning it. But it's irresponsible is what he's doing. He's handling all this shit in a very irresponsible way. He's talking about very serious things in a highly irresponsible way. And also, recently, very, very, very recently, which is very crazy to me, this is, like, probably the most recent thing that he's done that everyone's like, what the hell about? Because I think at first it just started as, like, oh, this song sucks, and then, oh, you're fetishizing goth women, and then, I don't know, there's probably some other shit. People calling him a poser, of course, that's always been a thing, which I do believe. But also, and then it was him being like, no one would care if I killed myself, to your audience of children. Like, 13-year-olds are into his music, which is just not okay to say to your audience. It's just not. Because it's not like you're like, if you were genuinely in trouble and if you were genuinely trying to reach out, you wouldn't do it to your audience, your fan base of teenage people. I feel a kind of a similar way about Johnny Gilbert as well, which hopefully won't be as controversial that I don't like him anymore, because there's literally a clip of him saying the T slur, like recently, like 3 weeks ago, and it's like, it is 2024. Like, everyone knows that that's not okay to just say. It'd be different if this was like 10 years ago and it was just like casual. I'm getting all around here, but they're friends, so that's part of it. Or maybe they're not friends, but they've made videos together and clearly like a, oh, I fuck with this guy kind of way. But okay, recently, going back to TX2's most recent blunder, on top of his already egregious blunders, millions of them, I bet. It just feels that way. It feels like there are millions. Feels like you can never stop talking about all the crap this guy is, like, pissing you off about. He straight up, this is like a podcast episode, what am I doing? But he literally, in his most recent song, or maybe it's not the most recent, whatever, at time of recording, he has this song that he put out relatively recently, where he's like, I have made the hardest breakdown ever. And basically he uses a soundbite of this kid on TikTok, like a 19-year-old person. He's like in his 20s as well, mind you. He's like mid-20s. Maybe 24, 5, 6, something like that. I'm not going to do research on his age because I don't really care and it's not relevant for now. Either way, adult, targeting a teenager in a little bit of a sense. But like this 19-year-old kid being like, if I have to hear tx2 talk about goth dummy mommies one more time, I'm going to shoot myself. And then in the song, he like samples that. Did not ask for this person's permission, by the way, at all. Because then they made a video being like, what the hell? Can I take legal action from this? Which I really hope that they do, because that'd be really funny. Because I don't think that you're allowed to always do that, especially when it's something like that. But then, regardless, after that clip, he goes, do it! Fuck yeah! And, like, why would you say this to your audience of children? Again, like, his fan base has got to be, like, 13. Also, because I know that I've seen fans of his that are 13 online. So it's like, how can you be saying this? It's like, it's just incredibly irresponsible, because you are saying, like, you're basically, like, in a sense, you are allowing your fan base to send death threats to this person. If you are saying, using a clip of them saying, I'm going to kill myself, then you going, oh, do it. Do it then. Do it. Just because they were critiquing your shit music. And now he's kind of doing the Ronnie Radke thing, it seems, where he's like, the haters are trying to take me down, but they can't, because I'm this great big force. And it's like, oh my god, you can't be punk and then also saying this shit. And he doesn't really try to perpetuate that he's super punk rock all the time, but he does do it sometimes. And he also calls himself metal, which is very funny, because any metal or hardcore kid who ever, if a metal or hardcore kid ever heard his music, they would be like, what is this? Like, this isn't hardcore, this isn't metal, dude. It's so funny. It's so funny to me, because it's like, no, man, you're not metal, you're not hardcore. You're just like a guy making kind of like a little bit, like, he yells sometimes, you know? Like, and he everyone yells sometimes in a song, I feel like, nowadays, you know? It's like me, this feels like me in middle school, elementary school, middle school, thinking that Youngblood was like the hardest shit ever made because he shouted sometimes, you know? Me thinking it was like the most hardcore thing ever. That's what this feels like. It's like this poser, it's like this new kind of poser punk, like TX2 and Machine Gun Kelly and Youngblood, and I cannot stand it. And there's so much of it. And I'm sick of it. Anytime he's ever critiqued about his music or what he's done. Like, not what he's done. He hasn't, like, honestly, a lot of what he's doing is just really irresponsible work. I think he's not a great person. But then again, I don't know him. But either way, you have a platform and you are, like, clearly he has a lot of fans. You know? It's really funny because he posts videos that are like, would you mosh at this show? And it's like videos from his show. And he's like, everyone, like, only hardcore people are gonna be in here. Like, only if you can handle it. And it's like, are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me? There are no hardcore people at your show. Like, this isn't a punk show. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just ridiculous to me. Also, if I went there, I'd feel unsafe. I just would, because